You're here for a Remnant 2 gun tier list video. S tier is being the best in most scenarios, and G tier is just garbage. I made that myself. We'll begin with the long guns, then we'll move on to the handguns. My personal favorite long gun being the Sagittarius. Now this bow has to be one of the best weapons in the game. This bow having the most base damage maxed. Also with the bow having its own mod, Starfall, that isn't so great with a moving target. I'm still going to put this bow in S tier due to how strong it is, with critical chance and weak spot damage. Now let's move on to the next gun. Now forward scattergun is a powerful shotgun with high spread, high damage, and slow reload speed. However, it is not very effective, which is why I created a separate section for it, G tier. Now the Widowmaker is a powerful sniper rifle known for its exceptional range and accuracy. While it can be difficult to handle in close combat situations because it is a sniper, it's meant for long range. It is a reliable choice for skilled marksmen. As long as you're hitting your shots, you should be good. Share your thoughts in the comments below. A tier. The Deceit is a solid gun with high critical chance, making it effective against bosses and larger enemies. Its range also allows for safe distance, and with the right timing with its mod, it performs well. A tier. Now, the Gross Unsettling Finger Gun is a reliable gun, especially in co-op mode where you could use it to take down enemies while providing support with your semi-automatic gun. It also has a useful mod that grants 35% fire rate increase and 10% life steal while entering a nightmare realm, which can aid in a sticky situation. I would say S tier. Finger gun, S tier. Gross. Okay, moving on. Alpha Omega. It charges up to 5 energy bolts with each hit, reducing charge time and increasing damage. This is one of the best long range weapons in the game, in my opinion. S tier. Now, the Merciless, Merciless, yes, is a great all-around gun with focus of fire rate and critical chance. It excels at crowd control and can take down strong enemies quickly with its blood mod, which adds up bleed and critical damage. A tier. Now, the Good Old Savior. It's a great gun for critical chance and weak spot damage against bosses and large enemies. The mod also helps with these enemies, but it's not ideal for crowd control. A tier, we're gonna put it just to be nice, you know, but it can maybe go into B tier. Maybe we're gonna put it A tier. Okay, it's a good weapon. You can do a lot of things with it. Not really. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, the Savior, I would say A tier. Okay, it's decent. Now, the Coach Gun. It's a double barrel shotgun that fires powerful slugs. It has a high damage output and fire rate, well, rate of fire. Despite these features, it is not the best option in all situations. C tier. Oh, high C tier. High C tier. Okay. So now the Spore Bloom. It could really pack a punch with its bonus staggered damage, but I found that it's not great for taking down large groups of enemies. Luckily, the mod helps with crowd control, so we're gonna round it up to A tier just because it can do a variety of things with the mod. Now the Philion is a versatile weapon, which is great in this game because sometimes you have big enemies with a lot of health and a lot of crowd control. It's good for range and up close. It has some unique capabilities such as being able to shoot the Nova Bomb and kills multiple enemies at once. It's one of my favorite guns. S tier. Moving on to the Pulse Rifle. Has good critical chance and weak spot damage. It shoots a 3-round burst, but requires accuracy to maximize the damage. So like me with bad accuracy, it's not that great, but it is a good weapon. It's hard to use if you want that max damage, but it has potential, and weapon customization is available. It doesn't have its own mod. A tier. Now going on to the Plasma Cutter, the spray and pray gun, I like to call it, are both effective at taking down single targets. The gun's large magazine size and mod heatsink allows for more spraying and praying, because that's what you like to do with that gun. A tier. Now the Chicago Typewriter, also known as the Tommy gun from the first game. It wasn't called that in the first game, but it's been in the first game. Has a large ammo capacity but slower load speed. It's not as effective as it was in the first game, and there's not much to say about it. The only special thing about this gun is that the longer you fight, the more accurate it gets, which is great. So we're gonna put it to B tier. Now we're moving on to the beautiful bow Crescent Moon with good range and critical chance, but not as powerful as other weapons or bows. It can also be charged for additional damage, but we're gonna put it to B tier. Now the Arborist launches a bouncy disc. So unless you're like cracked and you do some math, like, okay, this disc is gonna hit the wall here, hit this guy here, and you're gonna hit a bunch of enemies, like, then this gun to go to like S tier if you're that crazy. But no, that's usually not what happens, right? It bounces a energy disc that hits up to 5 enemies, which is great, but every time it bounces towards different enemies, it reduces the damage with each bounce, which is kind of bad. It's bad. Okay. Its mod is Guardian's Call, but there are better crowd control options. B tier. I'm gonna put it at B tier. Like I said, it could be S tier if you're like cracked with it somehow. I don't know. We're putting it at B tier. I personally dislike the crossbow. That's what we're moving on to. It is accurate, like all crossbows usually is, unless it's made from the dollar store. I don't know. It's accurate, but it's only a single shot and it lacks mods. There are better options unless you prefer crossbows. Despite my opinion, it does pack a punch. B tier. Now, the Royal Hunting Bow. I love this bow. It was my first bow I got. First bow I ever used. I still think it's an amazing bow, but however, once I got the Sagittarius, you're probably never going to use the Royal Bow again unless you want to use a specific mod for the Royal Bow, because with the Sagittarius it has its own mod, so you don't have that capability. But going back to the Royal Hunting Bow, it is a great bow. I'm going to put it to A tier. Let's continue, and now we have the XMG 57, also known as the Bone Saw. It's a light machine gun. While it's a decent weapon, especially early game, it lacks damage compared to other weapons. However, it has a large magazine. It can be effective for crowd control. It's another spray and pray weapon. C tier. Now the Black Maw. I don't know if I'm saying right. It's Black Maw, Black MAW. Okay, whatever. It's a fully automatic rifle with a medium magazine. It's decent when you use its burst instead of continuous fire, but you have to reload quite a bit, especially if you're using the burst, because of course you're using more bullets at a time, which could be pretty annoying. It does not have its own mod, so you can put your own mod on it, which is great. But again, if you're using the burst and you at least like miss one of your bullets and you keep on spamming that, you're going to be reloading quite frequently, so we're going to put it to C tier. The ES-10, also known as the Bulldog, is an average automatic shotgun, which is great for close quarters combat, but it's not as effective as shotguns were in the first game. There are a lot of better options for crowd control and close combat, but it could still be useful if you like the rusted aesthetic. I'm just saying it ranks as C tier. I could have put it to D tier, but we're gonna be nice and put it C tier because I'm feeling nice today. Okay. All through the Wrangler 1860. Yeah, it's a good rifle. It suffers from a slow reload speed. It's pretty bad. It's pretty slow. Other weapons are better. I would rather use a pistol as my primary weapon than this, to be honest. So we're gonna put it to D tier. Now we're going to the Huntmaster M1. It is a high-powered bolt action rifle. Oh my god. Now we're going to the Huntmaster M1. It is a high-powered bolt action rifle with a 2.5 times scope. It may suit your playstyle, but it lacks crowd control. You can serve as a backup weapon. If your partner handles crowd control, it is more effective against bosses or stronger enemies. We're gonna put it to C tier. And now we're gonna go to the Repulsor. The Repulsor, I think it's called. It reminds you of the old Dreamer Tech from the first game. I'm pretty sure that's what it's probably going for. It becomes more accurate when you aim down, which is great. However, there's a lot of better choices among the weapons in this game. Additionally, you can't put different mods on this gun, and the gun has its own mod called Banish. It's not that great. It only lasts for 8 seconds practically, so we have to put it to C tier. Now we're almost done with the long guns. This is the last one we're going to be covering because this is our last long gun in the game, is the Rusted Action Rifle. It's an ordinary scout rifle. You'll see these scout rifles in other games. It's very effective early game for crowd control if you're sitting from a distance, because it does impact a good shot early game. It has a decent fire rate. However, it falls short of later game standards. C tier. Now that we've covered long guns, let's move on to handguns. If you want a separate video with more detailed information on long guns or handguns, let me know in the comments. This video is focused on giving you a feel for the weapons and helping you decide whether to upgrade them or not. So let's continue to the pistols. Now the first pistol we have is the Rune pistol. This pistol is amazing. It looks amazing. It's amazing. Fires a burst of 3 energy rounds. It's the best pistol in the game with its own mod that's great for crowd control. There are no really negatives for this handgun. It's a very solid handgun and it deserves a spot in your loadout, so we're gonna put it to S tier. Now the Starshot fires a fast moving projectile that explodes on contact, and it has its own mod called the Big Bang. Big Bang. It deals both immediate and damage over time for burning, making a decent handgun overall. I would like to put it to A tier. It'll go to A tier. Now we go to the rusted repeater handgun. All right, this handgun, yeah, I used it quite a bit. I don't know why, but I did. The only gun that can't have a modifier, and I used it. So how much you upgrade it, will never be as powerful of other weapons. So it's kind of useless. You just throw it in the garbage, but we're not going to put it in the garbage, which is very surprising. Okay. I think the rusty repeater early game is not a bad weapon. It wasn't that bad. It has fast fire rate and decent range for a pistol. So this gun, we're gonna put it to C tier. Okay, we're gonna be nice to it. Now the cube gun. The cube gun is cool. When I first got it, I was like, wow, this is a cool gun. It's a pistol that features a limited of 5 bullet capacity. Could be really annoying because if you miss the intended target, you don't get your cubes back. Your cubes are your bullets. And the problem with that is if you don't get them back, you have to charge your gun. And if you have to charge your gun, it takes forever. I'm telling you, it takes forever. So this gun is probably like an A tier, like if you hit your shots, because it is a good gun. But because I'm bad, I'm going to say B tier. But we're going to leave it to A tier because it has good potential. Okay, we're going to put cube gun A tier. It's a decent gun. I can recommend using it. It's good for a lot of fights. It's not that great for some other fights. But let's move on. Okay, no more cube gun talking. Personally, the double barrel shotgun we're going to talk about right now is probably my favorite handgun due to its high damage output. However, when need to reload frequently due to its double barrels can be a problem. Nonetheless, it remains a good weapon, especially for those with more ranged based primary weapons. I consider it a good choice of a handgun for players. We're going to put that to A tier because it's my baby. Yeah, okay. Now we go to the bolt driver. When I got this, I was like, are we gonna shoot nails at people? But no. Okay, it's a 3-round burst handgun. It has no mods, allowing you to customize it and see what fits for you. And the gun itself, it racks up a lot of damage. It's not bad at all. It's a decent gun. If you're really a 3-round burst type of guy, we're gonna put to A tier. Now the Sorrow is one of the coolest weapons in this game, I think, like appearance wise. It's a crossbow pistol that can recall the bolts and heal the wielder. Overall, it has high damage, good critical chance, and good weak spot damage. A tier. Now we're gonna jump to the MP6 OR. It's a submachine gun with a low caliber, and it's ideal for close quarters all through. Other weapons are better suited for larger spaces. It's a decent gun for early game if you get it in the ward, but we're just gonna put it to B tier. Now the Silverback Model 500 is a powerful handgun with high damage and range. It's a solid gun with good accuracy, but yeah, there's other options, you know, like a lot of guns in these games, well, in this game particularly, they're all about your play style and depends what boss or what enemies you are facing. But yeah, we're gonna put that to A tier, Silverback Model 500. So now let's move on to the Hellfire. Very unique weapon for this game. It's a flamethrower corrupted by the root with a burning effect and explosive shot mod that deals up to 242 damage within 9 meters, making it useful for crowd control and bigger enemies. A tier. Now the Hitman pistol, the Tech 22. It's a suppressed pistol with a high fire rate and medium ammo capacity. It does not have its own mod. It is not the best choice unless you have to be stealthy for some reason. You really don't. C tier. Nebula. The Nebula is a pretty cool gun. It like fires this mist of like acid, causing a crowded effect on enemies. It has a limited range, making a shotgun better option for close range combat. C tier. Now the Meridian grenade launcher. It packs a punch. It's a grenade launcher. Okay, it's cool. It has its own mod, the Screamer. It fires a high-powered rocket that deals up to 242 damage within 2.5 meters. B tier because it would be better if it was more meters, but at the same time it's just a plain old grenade launcher, so we're gonna put that to B tier. Actually, we're gonna move it down to C tier. It's going to C tier. Okay, I'm not giving that grenade launcher, B tier, not that nice. Now the Enigma shooter, that's a weird word to say, is an electric gun that shoots streams of electricity at nearby enemies, dealing 25% less damage each jump, or like each arc, whatever you want to say, to each enemy, which is very unfortunate. If it stayed the same consistent damage, that would be incredible. I would put that to S tier right away. It has its own mod, the Chaos Driver, which you could create like electrified mods which tether and do shock damage. It's great for crowd control. I'm gonna put that to A tier. Now the Ruptured Cannon. It's a mid-range pistol shotgun with a decent fire rate. It cannot be modified, but it provides versatility in combat situations. A tier. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for the next one? I don't know. Okay, sure shot. Okay. It's a high caliber hunting pistol, effective at mid-range to long range, which is great if you're like chilling back there, you know. But however, it's not ideal for crowd control due to its single shot magazine. C tier, because there is a lot of crowd control in this game. Now we're gonna move on to your Western Cowboy gun. It is the classic 6-shooter that is enjoyable to use. However, its reload speed is not very quick. It can be effective for crowd control, but not that exceptional. It is a decent backup weapon with a quick draw is necessary. B tier. Now, the second last pistol, the service pistol. It's a reliable, accurate, like standard, like military sidearm that can provide a backup weapon, like a good, decent backup weapon just to swap through and do your quick shoots. I don't know what I'm getting at. It features a 9-round magazine, decent fire rate, and a decent damage. There are many better options available, so we're gonna put it to B tier, but it is a solid backup weapon just to have. The repeater pistol is next. It's reliable for close to mid-range combat, but not ideal for long range. It can serve a solid backup weapon with no other options early game, but we're gonna put that to C tier. And that will be all the guns in Remnant 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys now see that some of your favorite guns are in S tier, A tier, so you guys are like, hey, it's worth upgrading. And you're gonna see like some of the guns you think that are decent that I put to like B tier and C tier, and like, okay, maybe I'm gonna move on to another weapon and upgrade that weapon instead. Hopefully this helped you out, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Leave some comments below so I can see your guys' opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next one.